Good evening, good evening, good evening, Hope Church. Welcome to the sofa with Mark and Lydia.
Good evening. So good evening, Bethany and Laurie. Good evening, Mel and Margaret. Good evening, Jane and the Covington clan. And good evening, Iris. And I'm sure others will join us as we are going.
Yes, because that's just 4, and there's at least 9.
Hello, Ian
Debbie
and Debbie.
Ian as well. Excellent.
So, what a beautiful day it's been, I think. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it has. I'm trying to remember. I've been so busy. Seriously, I've run from one thing to another. I'm still catching my own tail. And I don't think it gets much lighter until Friday. So
You got a busy week.
yes. So forgive me if I seem a little confused. But yeah, do you have anything to chit chat about? You don't, do you?
I did, but it's gone out of my head.
Just waiting for people to join us.
Yes.
Okay, great. Nothing. He has nothing. Okay, so at the beginning and at the end, we're going to make the same announcement. So we made sure we've made some announcements. So, number one, if you haven't heard already, on the 25th of October, Hope Church will be meeting together in person. That's a Sunday, the 25th of October.
What?
At 10 a.m.
No way!
in the town hall.
Fantastic!
So
whoop, whoop, whoop,
there's a
whoop.
room upstairs. There'll be people to show you where to go if you don't know where to go. So just walk in the town
How
hall.
excited! Why didn't you tell me?
And next week, Monday to Thursday, Mark and I are on holiday. The house will not be empty. Jake will be here with the dogs, so do not rob us. And
Vicious dogs.
Yeah, and they can be. They
And
really
scary
can be.
Teenage
They
dogs.
really can be, and he's even scarier. And he's done taekwondo, so I don't want to say anything, but I wouldn't mess with him. He's really big.
Okay.
Anyway, you're the one who started that. But they always say don't tell Facebook and don't tell the world when you're on holiday. So I thought I'd just make the point that
I see.
the house isn't empty.
Okay.
Okay, but we're on holiday Monday to Thursday next week. So there won't be some of our programming as usual. So there won't be Tuesday mornings, Ladies Who Lead next Tuesday. Just next Tuesday. It'll be back on the following week. And next Wednesday. What's the plan for next Wednesday, Mark?
For next Wednesday, we're going to have a special edition of On the Sofa without Mark and Lydia.
Without Mark and Lydia?
Not On the Sofa.
But it'll probably still be called On the Sofa with Mark and Lydia.
That's right. So
because you never change it. And so Isaac and Dan are always under Mark and Lydia.
That's right. Oh, no, Isaac fixed it. No, but we're going to... we're going to...
what you can do, Mark?
Pull out the archives.
What?
One of the best bits of Stay Sane with Steve. So if you never got to see Stay Sane with Steve, we've got a repeat. If it's good enough for the BBC, it's good enough for Hope Church. So we're gonna put out Stay Sane with Steve's best bits, and that will be next Wednesday at 7:30. So you didn't see it first time around, or if you want a reminder, then you can catch that next Wednesday. Monday evening we'll still have a communion on the couch.
That's not in this group, so there are people who may be watching. Who
that's right.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Okay, we shall not mention that. Don't mention the communion, really.
How are you going to do that anyway?
The same way.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll have...
It's through the magic of the internet.
Okay.
It's all going to work. It'll be fine. We've got a thought for the week from Criddy, which I've already previewed. That sounds good. And there'll be communion on the couch. Yeah.
Okay. Which we will have filmed before we go away.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is irrelevant if you're not part of Hope Church family. And if you're not part of Hope Church family, it's nothing personal. It's just that it is just for the people who meet together as Hope Church, just so they have an actual private little group where they can feel safe. Okay? Right. What are we doing this evening? Let me tell you. It is part 3, and hopefully the final part, seeing as how we're not on next week ourselves, of the 10 things mentally strong people give up to gain inner peace.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this article listed 10 things that mentally strong people give up to gain inner peace. So let's go through the first 7, which we've already covered. So you'll have to watch previous Hearts of Hope. Okay, the last few have covered them. So, number 1, this is what you need to give up to gain inner peace. You need to give up engaging with toxic people. And it's funny, it was just as I was looking at the list just before we came on air, I actually thought, it's so easy to literally get distracted and dragged aside by what you might call toxic people. So we're serious about that. We're not saying that, you know, you shouldn't have friends in all different sectors of society. You absolutely should. But let's be careful who we allow to kind of drag us off in funny directions and or to drag us down. Don't allow anyone drag you down. So engaging with toxic people. Excessive self-blame is number 2. You need to give that up to be mentally strong and to gain inner peace. You've got to give up chasing happiness. It's okay. Goodness and mercy will hunt you down.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, got to give up staying comfortable. In a sentence, why? Comfortable. Comfort zones.
Sorry.
Go on.
I was thinking about the next thing. Yes, you've got to give up not paying attention when your wife's live on the internet and getting into trouble.
Comfortable.
Yes, that's right. Because growth, new things, excitement, and adventures happen when you step out of your comfort zone. So if you always remain comfortable, if you never challenge yourself, if you never do anything that feels a little bit scary, you will never do anything.
Amen. Okay. Number 5. You need to give up the victim mentality or having the victim mentality, thinking people are always out to get you, or, you know, most of the time. Do you know what is so surprising? Most of the time, people haven't even thought about you.
It's true.
It wasn't you they meant to offend or upset. And that is just such a shocker. In fact, I always remember, a previous boyfriend, telling me how he was a thinker. He was a big thinker.
You made me feel bad.
Oh,
victim mentality.
Oh, come back here and shush. I don't hang out with toxic people, so either sort it out or anyway. And he used to say about and it was something I'd never really thought about before, though. That's why I remember him in it. But is that we are all the center of our own universe.
Mm-hmm.
We're just the center of our own universe, because
the stars of our own soap
because we are the protagonist in our novel. We are the person in the middle of it. And everything happens to us, and everything is a choice that we make, and therefore we are right in the middle of it. And so it's very easy to quickly become the victim in the story, but you're not. You're the heroine or the hero. You're the hero or the heroine. You are the victor. That's what the Bible says about you. So you are not the victim, you are the victor. So you need to remember that. You need to live like that. And you need to imagine that because you're the center of your universe, but you're literally not the center of anyone else's universe. And actually, truthfully, you're not even the center of your spouse's universe, most likely, because they're the center of their universe. And that's not wrong. It's just, it is the way it is, if you see what I mean. So many times we think people are out to get us and they're not. Okay, we're moving on. Unless you have more to say. No. Number 6, we've got to give up trying to impress people. And that's very important. It's about impressing people was the point, okay? Because I don't want anyone to have got the wrong end of that stick. We're not trying to impress people. God is already pleased with us. We don't have to, he is already pleased with us.
I'm embraced that this evening. That's why I came down in my vest.
Actually, you do look like an old granddad in his vest, don't you?
Anybody like a Werther's original?
You do, don't you? That is what an old-fashioned vest was, yeah. And number 7, the pursuit of perfection. Mentally strong people give up the pursuit of perfection to gain inner peace. So bear in mind, you're not supposed to be pursuing perfection. We may have confused you when we said we want you to pursue excellence. Excellence and perfection are very different. So, of course, as a church, we want to be honouring to God and we give him the best we have. But the best we have may not appear to be perfect in human eyes. Yeah. God just goes, it's like when your small child draws a picture of you and it is the ugliest picture you've ever seen. You go, do I really look like that? And, some of us women may, because we want to impress people, may go to the mirror and look and compare and say, well, why has he drawn all these lines across the middle there? Because, do I actually have them?
You've got those necklines that Beth used to draw
and Beth used to draw this circle here and these bits because she'd kind of felt her neck and, so there were interesting pictures of us and it certainly wasn't a perfect depiction of us. It wasn't perfection. But we absolutely loved it, and God absolutely loves you. So please don't have got the wrong end of the stick on that. So today, we're moving forward. We're doing 8, 9, and 10 of the 10 things mentally strong people give up to gain inner peace. So number 8, are you ready? You've got to give up holding grudges. It's actually simple, isn't it? Of course you can't have peace when you are holding a grudge. Because as many people say, and there's many ways of looking at it, but grudge is basically unforgiveness. When all said and done, it is unforgiveness. And there's these beautiful pictures that you have of thinking that you're not letting someone off the hook. We say, oh, I'm not letting him off the hook. I'm not letting him, he can't go off the hook. If I forgive him, he'll be off the hook. No, you'll be off the hook, because that hook isn't in him. He's not aware that he did anything wrong, probably.
He's the star of his own
He's
universe. He's
got
not
his own
thinking
things
about
going
you.
on. He's not thinking about you. But what's happened is you are constantly tearing at yourself because you're
Obsessing
hooked.
over it. Yeah.
You're hooked to him. You're like the fish on the end of the hook. You are hooked to him or her who hurt you. The longer you hold the grudge, the longer you hold the unforgiveness, you are held to them. And it's you that is getting hurt, and it's you that is getting ripped apart. Holding a grudge does not punish anyone else, but it does hurt you.
Absolutely. I mean, I was just reminded of this yesterday. I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
So I'm at
Are you allowed to tell this story?
yes, I'm at a conference this week, as you can tell. It's all gone virtual, but it's the annual professional speaker summit, and they've got this crazy thing where they do 5-minute networking. It's like crazy kind of speed dating, because what you do, you go into the networking room, you kind of click this button on the website, and your computer screen goes black, and then your camera turns on, and it turns on with another random person who's gone into the networking room.
I hate that.
And you have this timer for 5 minutes, and you just got to chat to people for 5 minutes.
I would hate that.
And so there were some interesting characters.
Talk about out of your comfort zone.
Right, there were some interesting characters that I met. I thought, really, you're a professional speaker, and you're doing this in front of your pile of laundry. But anyway, there was one lady who's actually just down the road from here, and she is a professional grudge remover. So her father was murdered in the Troubles in Ireland.
Right.
And so I think when she was a teenager, and ever since then, she's been an active peace advocate seeking to bring reconciliation with this conflict. And so she started working in Northern Ireland, and then she formed a charity and went all around the world in different kind of places where there was social conflict, helping people forgive, because you'd have to break the tit for tat cycle. You know, you kill my uncle, I'll kill your uncle. Or you kill my uncle, I'll kill your uncle. All that kind of stuff goes on. And that was kind of what she does. And she's been doing this for like 30 or 40 years, helping people put aside their grudges, basically.
Oh, that's all you're going to say?
Yeah.
She does that?
Yeah.
It's a job.
It's a job. It's a job.
Okay, I thought he was going somewhere more, but okay.
It's fascinating
that's fine.
That people have such a problem bearing grudges.
That you need
you have to pay someone to come in and help you fix it.
Do you know what? It's back to what I was saying in Ladies Who Lead. You know, stop looking to the world to solve your problems. The Bible says it all for you. Here we are. Leviticus 19 verse 18 says, "You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against the sons of your own people, but you shall love your neighbour as yourself. I am the Lord." Okay, so it's reminding you who's telling you, all right? Then we've got Jesus says, Matthew 6, verse 14 to 15. Jesus says, "For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses." I mean, the fact is, if God can forgive you the many things you've done and continue to do, you know,
which are way worse than anything anyone else has ever done to you,
you have to have mercy on others as well. And forgiveness is an act of will. You don't have to feel it to do it. Because then every time when it comes up and you really feel that irritation, that anger, or whatever it is against that person, remember that irritation, that anger, I mean, to be honest, living with bitterness can actually make you ill. And there are studies, and there's a biblical verse as well about bones. I think it dries up your bones or something. But there are actual medical studies that show that people who are living with unforgiveness and bitterness can make themselves sick. So it will not hurt the other person. Remember that. So Romans 12 verse 17 to 21 says, "Repay no one evil for evil, but give thought to do what is honourable in the sight of all. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of God, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. You can leave those people who have hurt you to the Lord, okay? He has seen it. He will be just as upset as a father who watches one of his children slap the other one, okay? He will not just let it go. He won't just go, he will, get
Yeah.
in there. He will take the vengeance, not you. If your enemy is, so it says to the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. So when you do an act of will, you can, if this feels like something you can do, you could actually pour coals on their head. This is what it says. If your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. For by doing so, you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. What he's saying is, when you do good to someone who's done bad to you, you cause them to kind of almost feel like they've gone into the fire. They kind of feel like they're burning, because it's like it's the goodness that you can pour upon them can actually convict them way more than your sour attitude and your bitter face and your anger ever could. That won't convict them, but what could convict them is goodness done to them. So I think that's a challenge. And I'm not saying you can all do that, but what I would say is what you can do is forgive, because Jesus says so.
Yeah.
So you can forgive, you can let it go, you can't hold on to grudges. It won't do you any good. That's right, as we forgive those who trespass against us, in the Lord's Prayer.
Right, Mel. Yeah.
In the Lord's Prayer. That's right. That's right. We ask God's forgiveness as we forgive those who trespass against us. Okay, so you need to give up holding grudges if you want to be mentally strong and gain inner peace. What else do you need to give up if you want to stay mentally strong, gain inner peace? You need to give up the quest for material things. And gosh, that's a hard one in this day and age, I have to admit.
So when you say material things, you're not talking about going to Next to buy a new outfit.
Fabric. I'm not talking about fabric, no. I'm talking about being a material girl in a material world.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm talking about things. I'm talking about cars, houses, money, hair colour, jewellery, iPhones, iPads, iWatches, whatever that is. I don't know. It's very old, so I can show it off, because it's definitely not the new version of anything.
Shall I wind it up for
it's
you?
definitely not the new version of anything. Not that those things are bad in themselves. It's okay to have a nice handbag. It's okay to have a car that does the job for you, is working, is nice. It may even be a colour you love. It may even be a style you love. It's not a problem to have them. It's not the having that's the problem. It's the pursuing and making your life's work about it, okay? Because the fact is, and many rich people will tell you this, no matter how much money you make, and no matter how big your house or how nice your car or more expensive your clothing, you won't get peace of mind through it. So you may have it, you can enjoy it, but it may not give you peace, actually. And there are many rich people who are mentally unwell and stressed and anxious and upset. And actually more so because they don't want to lose that stuff as well, because they've become so accustomed to it. So the key for us here is that expecting material possessions to satisfy your needs will leave you disappointed. That's the fact. And this is what the Bible tells us about it. Proverbs 27 verse 20 says, just as death and destruction are never satisfied, as in they never stop and they do carry on, so human desire is never satisfied.
Mm-hmm. You can never have enough.
You will never get to the point where you go, oh, that's it, I've got everything.
Because it doesn't actually
satisfy
fill the
hole.
You. So you can, by definition, never have enough.
So... and that's because we're filling the hole with things rather than with a contentment with God.
Putting an iPad in it won't help.
No.
A God-shaped hole, putting a car or a house or a handbag in it won't help.
Yeah. So, Luke 12 verse 15, Jesus says, take care and be on your guard against all covetousness. You know, that's greed. In other translations, it says greed as well. Covetousness is wanting what someone else has, but you could actually translate it as greed. I read it in a different version.
To the point of obsession, because where you think about it, it starts to dominate your thoughts.
Yeah. So what Jesus said is, be on your guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. Well, it couldn't be any clearer than that, could it? And that's Jesus himself speaking. So for me, that is the key. What does Jesus say? What would Jesus do? What does he say about it? Interestingly enough, I think one of the garments that they split between them when they kill him, they take his garments and they cast lots for them, is a good quality garment. So we're not saying don't have good quality. The reason that the soldiers want the garment is it's a good quality garment because it is a garment woven from one piece of cloth or something in one continuous weave or something, which at the
Wasn't all
time was a
patched and yucky.
desirable
Yeah,
garment. Okay, this is the really good garment of its time. So it's not that you shouldn't have good things. Okay, it's not about that. It's about the
value
thought
you put upon them.
you put upon it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So what's the time? We're okay. 1 John 2 verse 15 to 17 says, do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes, that's the wanting stuff, and the pride of life is not from the Father, but is from the world. And the world is passing away along with its desires. But whoever does the will of God abides forever. So it's not going to last. You could gather everything around you, you will still die. And you can't take it with you, as they always say. The Egyptians tried and they couldn't take it with them.
Yeah.
So it's going to turn to dust and it's going to disappear because it will not go on forever. It all turns to dust, dust to dust. 1 Timothy 6 verse 9, well, maybe the plastic won't.
Yeah,
Gather plastic. 1 Timothy 6 9 to 10 says, people who long to be rich, and I think this is our warning, people who long to be rich fall into temptation and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. What is the root of all kinds of evil?
The love of money.
The love of money. It's the desire for money. It's the want for the things that money buys. It's not the things. It's not the money. They are not inherently evil. It is the lust for it that's the problem, because it's the longing for it that causes you to fall into temptation and make bad choices to get it.
Because that's when you start... you shall have no other gods before me.
Yes, and it becomes too big and too important. You shall not covet
your neighbour's whatever possessions. Yeah.
Yes. And some people, it carries on, sorry, this is still 1 Timothy chapter 6, and some people craving money have wandered from the true faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows. The fact is, you can chase something down, and if you are chasing that down and you win it and you get it, but what have you lost along the way? So here's the thing. Mentally strong people aren't necessarily minimalists. However, they can enjoy nice things, but they don't expect their material possessions to give them joy and contentment. So I hope that's been clear. We're not saying it's wrong to have something. And I hate it when Christians judge other Christians. I absolutely hate it when a Christian drives a Ferrari and another Christian goes, could have given that money to the poor. Absolutely hate that, because it's not our life. We don't know any of that story, and that's not okay, if I'm honest.
Because when you say something like, "Oh, they shouldn't have that. They should have given that money to the poor," you know which disciple you're quoting? Judas.
Yep.
Is he your role model?
Yes.
I should think not.
So let's not be judging each other, and let's walk out our own faith without trying to have everything, and understand that we have everything we could ever need or want in Christ. Okay, he does fulfill every need that you have. Lastly,
self-reliance. You've got 3 minutes.
Oh wow, okay, no, here we go. Okay, so 10 things mentally strong people give up to gain inner peace. Number 10, self-reliance. That means relying upon yourself to solve your own problems, to sort yourself out, and you don't need anyone. Don't need anyone's help. No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Want lots of help. Don't need no charity.
No, I can do it all on my own. I'm fine.
Are you fine?
Thinking you can do everything on your own is about acting tough. It's not about being strong. Actually, strong people know how to ask for help, because strong people aren't afraid of looking weak. when they ask for help, and you don't look weak when you ask for help. You look strong
You
when
look
you
human.
allow help, because there will be times when having help is actually important, and you were not designed to exist alone. You are designed to exist in community. So there's help from community, there's help from each other, and there is help from God. Romans 12 verse 3 says, for by the grace given to me, I say to everyone, this is Paul, he says, I say to everyone, well, we think it's Paul in Romans, I say to everyone among you, not to think of himself. It is Paul in Romans. I got myself confused. It's Hebrews.
Hebrews.
Yeah, anyway, it's definitely Paul. For by the grace given to me, I say to everyone among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think. Now we say that, don't thinks of himself a bit highly. That's what it is. It comes from the Bible. Okay, don't think of yourself more highly than you ought to think. And actually, Paul himself says in 2 Corinthians 3 verse 5, when he's talking about, and he's kind of making a case for the fact that they, that the Corinthians need to be listening to them. He actually does say, not that we are sufficient in ourselves to claim anything is coming from us, but our sufficiency is from God. So he knows that he is nothing without God. And that's Paul himself. So mentally strong people aren't afraid to admit when they need help. And there's two places you're going to need help from sometimes. You're going to need help from God and help from other people. Help from God. Let's just quickly go through Isaiah 41 verse 10. God says, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Why does that not apply to you? It applies to you. If he says, I will help you, and he says, fear not, and don't be dismayed, and I'm here for you, why would you not have it? Yeah, exactly. And James 1 verse 5 reminds us, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. When you don't know what to do, and you don't know how to pursue, and you don't know how to move forwards, and you don't know the answer, go to God and he will help you. That is what James tells us. Without reproach, there's no judgment, there's no nastiness attached to it. And then I'm going really fast because I know we're finishing. Help from other people. We need to know how to accept help from other people. I like this. Let's have a reminder of what happened in Exodus 17 verse 12. When Moses' hands grew tired, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held his hands up, one on one side and one on the other, so that his hands remained steady until sunset. You know, sometimes when we're in ministry, we think we are the person called to the ministry and we have to do it all on our own. And that is wrong. Moses had a ministry right there and then, and he had to keep his hands up, and he accepted help on either side. Aaron and Hur held his hands up. So there is a biblical sign of the fact that we are supposed to help each other. But here's the thing. Philippians 2 verse 3 says, do nothing from rivalry or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. When you hold yourself up, it is pride that holds you in a place of not asking for help from others. When you say, I don't need help from others, it's prideful, and you are counting yourself as more significant than others, because I don't need help, they do, they all need help with each other, but I don't need help, and it's not a healthy way to live. So that's what Philippians is saying in 2 verse 3. But then Hebrews 13 verse 16 says, and this is an instruction for God's people, do not forget to do good and to share with others, for with such sacrifices God is pleased. If we don't ask for help from others or accept help that's offered if we haven't asked for it and they just generously give it to us, if we don't take the help that has been given, generously given, we are literally preventing people from obeying what I've just read from Hebrews. So I'm going to read it to you again. Don't prevent other people from obeying this. It says, do not forget to do good and to share with others. For such sacrifices, God is pleased. Let people please God by helping you. That is probably, for me, one of the main reasons that we must ask for help, and we must allow people to help us, and we must be humble. We are not told to be prideful, so be humble and allow people to help us, because we are not the centre of our own universe and everything rolls around us. We are part of a community. We're all together.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important that we be there for each other. How does God help us? Many times he helps us through someone else, the ministry that someone else brings us, the care, the help that someone else brings us. Knowing you don't have to have all the answers and all the ways to fix it gives you a renewed sense of inner peace. And that's why mentally strong people have realized they need to give up being self-reliant to gain inner peace. That is all the 10 things. I reckon it's a good list.
Very good
Okay.
list.
I know I'm aware of, certainly I have chosen to cut some of those things out of my life on purpose across the years. I just hadn't got it in a list, but I have cut those things out, many of those things, and it's the only way I can possibly have any peace. So I encourage you to stick by those 10 things. I will now type those things, or make sure those things get typed into maybe the Hope family group, so that you can just ponder the titles. I'll just put the titles in there to help you remember that actually, if you want inner peace and if you want to be mentally strong, don't carry any of these 10 things in your life. Don't be pursuing them. I hope that's helpful.
That's really good. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we're done, are we?
We're done.
Yes. Have we been switched off in some way?
No.
Okay. Bless you, Iris. Thank you. We will have a nice break. And so remember, there's church to get excited about on the 25th of October at 10 o'clock in the morning in the town hall. And there's no Ladies Who Lead next week on Tuesday morning, but only that week. And next Wednesday evening, Heart of Hope will be the best of Stay Sane with Steve. So God bless you. And tomorrow evening, don't forget to tune in to the Shalom Show, which will also be on next week as far as I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right then. God bless you.
God bless you all.
Bye.
Bye for now.